It has been a minute, but welcome, all 0 of you in this live stream. Welcome. It has been a minute. Look, I dared myself to do nothing over the bank holiday weekend, and you guys clearly didn't take that on board, and you've managed to give me 100 views on that last video. So thank you all very much, and a round of applause. Thank you. So if you haven't been here before, my name's Marcus. I specialize in telling people what to do with their money, and I've done that for almost 2 decades now. But in addition, I'm a retired corporate professional, retired professional athlete, retired roadman, retired migrant, brother, boyfriend, son, and I'm here to help you live the business class lifestyle. Will all 0 of you in this live stream strap up? We're about to board the business class lifestyle. Thank you. So what is the business class lifestyle? What is it? I'll tell you what it is. If you look at life in terms of coach classes on a plane, you got economy. You get that as a standard. You're born as a standard. You don't have to do anything. You just popped out your mum's cha-cha and you're out, and you can go and do whatever you want. And typically, if you do nothing but exist, no one's going to do anything, and no one's going to kill you about it. But there's more you can do in life. But fine, you want to just go out there, you want to exist, you want to do nothing, you want to steal oxygen from everybody else, if you want to call it that. But that is economy level living. You do a little bit of work in life. You go to school, maybe you pick up a little trade. You can get to premium economy. You can get to live that extra bit better. And if you do a little bit of work over a consistent period of time, let's say you go to university, or you pick up a skill or a trade that you've had to spend a number of years on, you become a bit of an expert in that area, you can then go to the level that I would call business class, right? And that level is a level where you're living the life you want. Your boss is not having his foot on his neck. You can run your own thing. You're smart enough. You've got the skills enough. You can set up a consultancy. You're running your own thing. You're doing your own hours. You can work overseas. You can work remotely. You can just not work at all. And you can live that business class lifestyle. You've got options, okay? Now, business class is not first class. Let's not get it twisted. Business class is not first class. First class, you're moving mad. First class, the money's flying in and out. You're not earning money the normal way. Your big bits are coming in often, for example. But also, the lifestyle that you live is less manageable, in the sense that everybody might know you, or the way you do things, you can't do it very normally. Business class sits at that level where you can be quite well off, right? And you can dip in and out when you want to, go and travel first class, or go and travel short haul and do something on an economy level. You don't have to necessarily have the microscope on you, whereas if you're first class, you will have the microscope on you. And first class actually is a level where I can't teach you. I can't tell you how to be a first class. I can't tell you how to be phenomenal. There's certain God-given gifts that you need to have as a foundation to be able to get there. But for business class, I certainly can. Right? I can certainly get you there. And with that, obviously, comes all the choices you want around the 3 fundamental things that I talk about on this channel, which are health, wealth, and relationships. So choice over all those 3. Someone came in the chat and they left. We got the bush watchers. They're back there live, and they're early. They came in here, they saw how the red tie is back on. He's got the tie pinned. There's nothing going on here. There's no videos from elsewhere. They came in, they saw, and then they left. I don't know why, but big up who just came into the chat. I appreciate anyone that comes into the live stream, and big up once again. So that's the business class lifestyle. As you know, I am the original source code. Everything comes from me. I come from the motherland. I come from the ground. I am the one, the original, and I talk about foundational stuff as a result. My experiences give me that unique grounding to the motherland, right? So I was born in obviously West Africa, Ghana. I have a good idea of living different lives in different countries. I've traveled all over quite a few different continents, and everything that I try to do here is fundamental, foundational, things that will stand you in good stead over the course of your entire life. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, I am the original, the source coding to your life. Yes, that's right. That is right. The original source code. Yes. Again, thank you. Over 100 views on the last video where I double, triple doggy dared you to just do nothing over the bank holiday. There's another bank holiday coming. I double, triple doggy dared you to do nothing, as in focus on your damn self. Okay. People running around, want to do this, that, blah, 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 blah. I went into hiding. I had to do some stuff. I had to prepare things. I had to do bits and bobs. I might have had to cut a few people out as well, right? So you do not have all the time to do things that you want. You've got weekends where you've got bank holiday weekends, federal holiday weekends. You've got to maximize those and use those. So I triple doggy dared you to do it, and it looks like you didn't do it, and you said you watched my video. So thank you very much for that anyway. We are cooking tonight, but we are not eating. But we're cooking. We are still cooking. So today's topic, it gets real. Been wanting to do this for a minute. This one might take a while. What I always do is I like to put a timing on these things, and not the timing in the sense of watching a clock go round and round and round. Time runs out. Once it's gone, you're wiped out. You're finished. The other day, one of my boys, fit guy, apparently had a heart attack. I'm gonna have to call him. We're gonna chop it up. See, I don't call him too tough. Anyway, let me finish the point. Time runs out. Okay, so I always like to measure time like this. This is about 45 minutes to an hour. I think this might go way over. I've got to be real, but at the very least, I want to try and keep it to 45 minutes an hour. But we may be doing overtime. We might have to do it all night long tonight. All night long. All night. Hey, that's what she said. That's not what I said. But yeah, life is short. Life is real. One of my boys, very fit, younger than me, great guy. He suffered a heart attack. Guy in his 20s. So I'm gonna chop it up with him. Whenever I chop it up with him, he's such a real one. It just goes deep. So I'm gonna have to get my popcorn ready, settle myself, and obviously a lot's happened. So it'll be good to chop it up with him. But today's show, ladies and gentlemen, today's show is the real. It's what's been on everybody's lips. I've been watching this unfold. I have a unique perspective on all of this, but it is about the passport bros. So can African Americans actually do passport bros? Okay, and the top 3 destinations for passport sis. So there's passport bros, there's passport sis. They're all getting involved in it, right? New concepts here. Reverse passport bros, that will be explained. Passport Bros 2.0 will be explained, and I'll also share my experiences of international travel. Okay, let's get into it. Let's land that plane. Okay, so what is modern day passport bros? What is modern day passport bros? You might have seen all over the internet and blah 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 blah, people talking about passport bros. What you probably see is a group of men traveling. That's not a new concept really, but what is this modern day concept of passport bros? This is what I believe that it would be. Okay, you can't quote me on this. Everybody has their own terminology, everybody has their own idea on these things, but some people try and bash these guys and put them in the category of like, what's the word? They're going over there for dessert. If you want to read what I'm trying to say, they're going over there for one thing, which is dessert, and they're doing dessert tourism. But I don't believe it's that. So modern day passport bros is the idea that non-Western, when we're talking about the bros, right? It may also apply to I believe it will apply to the sisters as well. Passport bros, passport sisters is another dimension of the same thing. So the idea that non-Western men or women would be better for long and short-term relationships than those based in the West for various reasons. I'm going to talk about for the bros perspective, sisters perspective. I'm going to touch on a few things later. I'm going to start with the bros perspective. So from the bros perspective, the idea that non-Western women is better for long and short-term relationships, marriage and all of that, than Western women for various reasons, namely the legal system over here in the West is not conducive to men getting themselves involved in marriages and long-term relationships. You've got some countries and states where divorce laws are heavily against men. You've got things like alimony that doesn't actually add up to the maintenance of your wife or spouse's lifestyle, and all of these things and legal issues around cohabitation, just simple cohabitation. It has basically come to a front where a lot of men in the West are struggling with that, and they're thinking about other options and solutions in terms of building a family, dating, and the like. In addition to that, better standard and quality of living. This world has become more global. We've got air travel, baby. All aboard the business class airways lifestyle. We got business class travel. We can go and live over there, live over here in a 4-hour flight. Okay, we can have a whole different environment in front of us, and effectively that could also give you a better quality of living. We know the problems that we have in the West. I'm not saying that there's not good parts to it, because there definitely 100% is. I've definitely benefited from my transition from West Africa over here to the UK, for example. But in terms of modern dating, there are a lot of issues, and also just a general standard of living will make a difference if you go overseas, good weather, low cost of living and such. So that's another reason why passport bros have come in and are looking at moving overseas with their dating aims and objectives. So another point, another reason for these passport bros from the men's perspective is also they believe that they will encounter more traditional women who will respect them for being a man. There's an idea that over here in the West, there's a bashing of men, there's a stripping down of men, whereas there's the idea that in non-Western countries, Asia, for example, places in Africa, for example, there's the idea that they are more respectful of men. They know what men bring to the table. They value that masculine energy, if you want to call it that. And so these passport bros feel as though they'll be more appreciated overseas, for example. And look, just generally, we have to keep it a buck. We have to keep it a buck. Men quite frequently and overall, typically, they look at everything in terms of risk, reward, risk, reward, risk, reward, risk, reward, cost, benefit, cost, benefit, cost, benefit. And they probably looked at the whole situation and thought that the costs and risks of marriages and relationships, dating in the West far outweigh the costs and the risks of doing this overseas. And these are the main kind of reasons why passport bros have come about, and that's what modern day passport bros is all about. It's just a concept that dating, marriage, relationships is better done with women outside of the West, women with a non-Western view of the world, effectively. So you're talking about more traditional cultures. That's what they're trying to tap into there. Okay. Now, there's also the passport pookies. There is also the passport pookies. Let's keep it 100% a buck. There is also the passport pookies. Yeah, and they're making a lot of these passport bros look bad. They're killing the game. Yeah, they're making it game over for a lot of these passport bros. You know, they're almost dead in the thing. They're almost dead in the thing because what these passport pookies or passport hood rats, what they're actually doing is they're going to countries overseas and coming with their westernized energy and baggage. They're not being chill. They're going there exclusively for dessert. They're, you know, maybe mistreating the women there, maybe even objectifying the women in certain cases. I'm not kind of each of their own, but that part of what these passport pookies are doing, I do not believe that is the essence of passport bros. Just a simple idea that you know, traveling overseas will open up some new opportunities for dating and marriage over the longer term. So that's really with them. So the next point that I wanted to touch on was, well, what is modern day passport sis? So what is the modern day passport sister? Yeah. And the top 3 passport sister locations. Look, the whole point and reason why I'm doing this is today is more of a relationship-based topic and a relationship-based show. But relationships are real. Relationships can make you and destroy you. This is a critical element of life. Whether that's, again, relationships with your family, relationships at work, or relationships romantically, you need to take these things seriously because they can make or break you. People's lives have been transformed by going overseas and finding the culture, the environment, and yes, the person that they feel that they're happy to spend the rest, if not the majority of their life. And it's very important that I touch on these topics because you are not a tree. You are not a tree. As a person, as a human being, the world is your absolute oyster. You need to take advantage of it. We've never been able to travel so freely. You can use that to your advantage, and you are not a tree. Okay, so these topics are very, very important. All right. Now, with modern day passport sisters, again, it's the same as a passport bro. So these are women that prefer traditional men. You could say it like that. You could say women that prefer traditional men, and maybe in addition, they have a certain type of men that physically as well that they're more attracted to, or in terms of risk reward, like they're gonna get the job done. Yeah, they're gonna get the job done. Okay, we went there. Yeah, we went there. They might be able to get the job done a little bit better. So the risk reward in terms of, you know, he may treat me bad, but at least he got the job done. Yeah. We go all night long in Ghana. We're gonna touch on Ghana in a minute, but just Ghanaian guys, we go all night long. I'm telling you about that. Okay. All right. So it's again the same reasons why, you know, men would also try and look overseas for women. These passport sisters, these women, they're like traditional men. When you go overseas, especially non-Western countries, you see more chivalry, you see more romance, you see more forthright men, you know, men not afraid to take the lead, men that are more confident in what they're doing, maybe as opposed to the vast majority of men in the West. I'm not saying these men aren't in the West, but maybe they are few and far between from what these women are used to. So again, similar reasons on that front. And typically as well, when you look at a traditional man, they do want families. So a lot of these women have been messed about in the West by guys who aren't really that serious. And, you know, overseas, they have that more traditional mindset. When I say overseas, I'm saying non-Western. They have a more traditional mindset. So you're looking at the Caribbean, you're looking at African countries, you're looking at Asian countries. They have a more and parts of other parts of Europe. So it's, you know, certain places like get away from the capital cities of, let's say, Italy. these kind of places are actually quite reserved and quite traditional as well, actually. So it's that as well. And these women, they think that that's a better outlook for them in terms of what their relationship goals are and marriage goals and long-term dating goals, effectively. So that's effectively what Passport Sis is. Now, the top 3 Passport Sis locations in 2023. Okay, the top 3 Passport Sis locations in 2023. So at number 1, I'm gonna have to keep it above. At number 1, we put in GH Ghana on the map. Yeah. We're putting GH Ghana on the map. This place is, everything's coming out of this place right now. It's getting so commercial. We got businesses moving over there. We got a new Hollywood going over there, right? And we've got all the lovely girls going over there, and we can do it all night long over there in Ghana, I tell you. That's what she said. That's what she said. Yeah, leave me out of this. But effectively, Ghana, I would say, is the number 1 destination. And again, it comes down to all the points why people want to look at dating and marriage overseas, which is, the legal systems in Ghana are quite lax. So you can kind of move around freely. There's no, the systems do exist, but they're not really enforced in the same way. So you can live very, very freely in a place like Ghana. It's quite a peaceful country, for example. They speak English. You'd be able to get around quite simply. Better standard and quality of living, so you can get more for your bang for your buck. So with the same amount of money, you can live somewhere probably a lot nicer for a lot less. Although I would say Ghana is becoming more and more expensive, and the men are these Ghanaian men, they put me to shame. I'm telling you, man, they put me to shame, man. Ladies all around the world, when they go to Ghana, the way they get treated by these Ghanaian men, they just fall in love. I'm telling you, these girls go over there and they fall in love with the culture, the music. Ghanaian men dance, they can cook, they can do it all, man. These ladies just fall in love. They fall in love with these men, and it's really, really funny. I'm going to show you something now, man. It's really, really funny. So obviously I go back to Ghana. I frequent there every now and then. I haven't been there in a minute. So maybe even a year, maybe even. I say a minute. A year is not very long, but I frequent there quite often. And recently, I just saw this this girl's WhatsApp status, and imagine, so she's posted this recently, but this was over a year ago. Right, so she's posted this recently. She's basically pimping man out to all her American friends, effectively. So she's put this post up. I'm going to show you this post. Let's have a look at this. So yeah, she's basically put this post up. If you look, if you look at it, right. So what's she saying? She's basically saying, tall Ghanaian men. I had no idea this picture was being taken. Absolutely no idea. Like, I'm just poolside. I'm just doing my thing in Ghana, poolside, doing my thing. And this girl has taken this photo. And obviously she sent it then, obviously, but she's also sent it more recently. And it's saying tall Ghanaian men with whatever that is over there, right? Now, again, I'm telling you, man, like these guys I'm in okay shape, but these guys are lean, man. These guys are lean and ripped up, and they can dance, they can move, they can shake it, and they can also go all night long. And yeah, we'll leave that for another day. But this girl is American based, and she's letting that out. So clearly there is a feeling around sisters or women as well that going overseas is a great option, and Ghana, I believe, is one of the top destinations, and you're going to see that more and more and more and more and more. Okay, now in terms of, again, the reasons, like I said, legal systems, better quality of living in Ghana. The men are more traditional, they're very chivalrous, all that, opening doors, all that kind of stuff. They do it, they dance, they cook. So it definitely has to be up there in terms of the top 3 destinations for passport sisters. And again, there's a new film series. I don't know what it's called, but it's what is it called? Girls Trip or something like that. So this is an American series, right? This is an American series, and they're now going to film this series where these girls go on a trip and girls trip and and skin tea and they be skinning teeth. They be skinning teeth, man. All right, calm down. But yeah, these girls, they just be out here. They be skinning tea on these holidays, having a whale of a time, man. They be having a whale of a time, man. And the new episode of this show is going to be shot in Ghana, so I can't wait to see how that goes down. I've got all the faith in my people to make sure that these girls have a great time, and again, that will just promote Ghana even more as a destination for passport sisters. So, you know, it's the thing where they typically go in December time, where even celebrities, you know, we've had Meek Mill out there, we've had loads of celebrities out there in Ghana. So again, the vibe is there, the men are there, and the women will keep going in their droves. So that was number 1. Number 2, I believe, is South America and the Caribbean. So again, these men are very, very creative, very smooth. That's sometimes Spanish language or the patois. Women love that. Very easygoing, laid-back men in South America and the Caribbean. Obviously, you got the nice weather with it on top of that, and I really do that. Very scenic, very, very scenic. And again, these are things that women love, and that's probably number 2 on the list in terms of passport cis locations for the year. Okay, number 3 in terms of locations for passport sisters. It has to be Europe. And when it's Europe, we're talking about France, Italy, and maybe the UK. Why France and Italy? Well, French people are so romantic, but the French people from the black French people, they are so stylish. They're so smooth. They put everyone to shame. They put all the men to shame. They are number 1 in terms of style and sophistication, and women absolutely love men that dress well. And have that extra boom, you know. So yeah, Europe in terms of France, and also Italy. Like I said, Italy, there's the old world. Yeah, I don't know if you know that concept about Italy, but Italy has the old world, which is basically the south of Italy. The north of Italy is very developed. You have Milan and, you know, all these other places up north. But the south is it's a lot more old school and traditional. And, you know, there's a lot of nice places that you can go in the south, middle of Italy. So, you know, women do enjoy having time over there. Italian men are also quite very in touch with their femininity. Not every woman likes that, but they're very in touch with that side, and they can bring that side out as and when needed. They've also got, like I said, the weather on their side. It's very easy going in Italy, and generally France, Italy, maybe the UK, but Europe is another great destination for passport sisters. And that's the top 3. Ghana number 1, Caribbean, Jamaica, and maybe South America number 2, and Europe number 3, France, Italy, and maybe the UK. There you go. All 0 of you in my live stream giving me so much energy, applause. All 0 of you. I strongly do appreciate it. I really, 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 really do. So next point we're going to touch on is the original passport bros and passport sisters. The original passport bros, because what I touched on earlier was modern day passport bros. And this will circle right the way back to the initial question of this stream. Can African Americans actually do passport bros? That might seem off field. How do you mean? They've got passport, they can go out there and do whatever they want. They just need to get the visas and go. It's not quite as simple as that, especially as some YouTubers who've tried to do this have found out. So, for example, there's a YouTuber, Austin Holloman. He got ran out of Brazil. This guy tried to go and film himself in Brazil and, explain how Brazil would be a great place for a guy to settle and find love and start a new life and all of these things. But because of the way he was moving and because of who he was, he ended up getting ran out of Brazil to the point where he was known locally and people wanted to try and get him. His name was all over the news. So it was really a torrid time for him, and he had to run out there, and he had to, before he got game over. Yeah, they just had it in for him, and didn't like the way he was moving and speaking about their women. You see, their women, and then he had to get out of there before he got game over. So when I say that, I mean he had threats to game over him. So he went out there trying to do all this passport bro thing. Ha ha ha. Look at all this lifestyle and these women, but in the end it went against him, and they wanted to blow his nose. So he got out of there and he skedaddled and moved on. But that leads to, like I said, this question of, can African Americans actually do passport bros? And the question derives from the fact that the original passport bros are actually migrants. That's the original passport bros are actually migrants, like myself, my parents. These are the original passport bros. So these are people that will go from Jamaica to the UK, Nigeria to the UK, Ghana to the UK, Pakistan to the UK, India to the UK. They'll go and they'll hustle, do their thing, hustle. And then when they can, they will bring non-Western women back in their home country over to the UK or maybe even the US, where they're now living and working, to then start a family over in the Western country. That is the original passport bros. Okay, so if the original passport bros is someone from a non-Western country already coming to the West, UK, USA, Canada, and then bringing their family over, okay, so they have an actual anchored home, an anchored home where they have direct access to non-Westernized women, you could say that, okay, they're able to make that connection and do that quite seemingly, because they would speak some of the language, they'll understand the culture, it will be seamless. That is the original passport bros. What these guys like Austin Holloman and all these other guys that are just Americans running around with a passport, they're going to other countries, and these other countries, they don't necessarily even want them. They're not from those countries. Those countries aren't their home. It doesn't work the same when you do it like that. It just really doesn't. Yeah? It really doesn't. And if you do not have a grounding of where you're actually from, for an African American, doing passport bros can be really, really difficult. Okay? Now, what typically would happen, and this is what happened with this gentleman, from day one, if you're an African American, the only place that you can be thinking about, I mean, you can think about it and get it and make it work wherever you are, but the most direct and natural place you would be able to go to start a family outside of the West would be Africa. So you're an African American, and when you want to go and find a non-Western woman, you go everywhere in the world apart from Africa, and you're an African American. You wanna run up in Colombia, you wanna run up in DR, you wanna run up in all these funny places, and then you go there and people aren't really even accepting of you because you don't even know the culture, you don't even look the same, you don't even act the same, and it's going wrong for you, right? But then the one place that they will always accept you, you guys don't even want to go there. I find that astonishing. Now look, maybe there's also the element of okay, well, I need to find the woman attractive too, right? But it is a complete nonsense and a complete lie to say that there is no women on the continent of Africa. That just exposes the ignorance, lack of knowledge, and lack of information. There's nothing really wrong with that, but it does expose it. And that's a constant theme I find. No disrespect, someone came to the live stream and they left, so God knows what they've left with. But I appreciate it. I love it when people come into the live stream. We're going to carry on with the stream. We don't want to move off center, but this is a constant sort of theme that I find with Americans. No disrespect, right? But your worldview isn't as large as other nations, especially Europe. And to be honest, I kind of accept it and understand it, because America is the place in some respects, right? So you don't typically need to venture or think too much outside of your immediate world so much. It's one of the, if not the most powerful country in the world, more or less, right? You guys are doing all madnesses and got this and that on lock and army bases all over the world, and you know what I mean. I don't want to go into it, but I understand that element, but it still shows the ignorance and lack of knowledge. Africa as a continent has a vast range of people. Even one country in Africa has a vast range of people. You've got the north of Africa. The men and women there are very, very different from the sub-Saharan West Africa, and those men and women are very different from South Africa, and those men and women are very different from East Africa. And those men and women are different from the Central Africa, and then there's islands around the continent. There is no excuse, It just shows your major lack of information and knowledge and just general ignorance. Okay, so that being pushed aside, your great hope, men doing up Passport Bros, is actually to go back to Africa. I'm gonna leave that one out there. You guys can do what you want. You guys can live how you want to live, yeah. But honestly, that is one of the biggest untapped markets in everything, literally everything, And for example, a good friend of mine doesn't live too far from me. I've known this for a very long time, that she has a husband from Ghana, right? She's a young lady. She's been married since her mid to late 20s. The husband is in Ghana, and she goes there back and forth, and she makes it work for herself. But that's because there's a connection with that culture, there's an understanding with that culture already, because she's kind of from there. But if you're African American, where do you go to have that same thing? If you're running up in like, you can go back to places in Africa and you don't need to change language. Like, there's a lot of places they speak English. A lot of places, if French is your first language, let's say you're somewhere in Canada, a lot of places they speak French. Now you're trying to run up in places like Brazil. Now there are places in Africa that even speak Portuguese, but you're moving all around these places and different cultures when there is a continent of vast array of people that you will get accepted in. It doesn't, I mean, try everywhere, don't get me wrong, try everywhere, but why that is, overlooked sometimes, I don't like it, and I don't really support that. But hey, there's more for me, and like I said, I can go all night long. Yeah, that's what she said. Enough of that. But yes, the original Passport Bros were migrants. So you already have a home base in a non-Western country. You come to the Western country, work a bit, then you bring your family over. So your family, or your wife or your husband or whatever, they have a non-Western lifestyle and culture growing up. You bring them over as adults. You don't bring them over. You bring them over as like seasoned adults, and you continue the family over in the West, but raised under that different non-Western culture effectively. And I've seen that work beautifully. That's the original Passport Bros. What these guys are doing now is basically Passport Bros 2.0, is where you go to another non-westernized country. So Asia, for example, right? You know, you can make it work for yourself. There's no, you know, we're not, you know, shaming, measuring, and this and that. You can go to Asia and, you know, find what you need over there. But that typically wouldn't be, let's say it's not your original country. Let's just say a man that is not originally from Asia, that's African American, goes to Asia and then starts a family, and either they make it long distance or they move that family to America, for example. That's Passport Bros 2.0. That's modern day Passport Bros. That's not the original Passport Bros. The original Passport Bros, Africans, Nigerians, Pakistanis, Indians, they've been doing that for years. Irish people have been doing original Passport Bros for the years. They'll come to UK to work, and then they'll bring the whole family over, and you know, their family would have been matured before they came over. So they don't have that same Western mindset, and then they'll raise the family outside of that whole Western political and socio-economic and cultural setup. Okay, so next, what is reverse Passport Bros? I'll give you some time to think about that. Any takers? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Give me reverse Passport Bros, a definition. So this is something that we see more and more and more. And again, it starts from the originators of Passport Bros. This is what they're doing more and more and more now. So you'll get a family, right? Or you'll get a guy. So a guy, he's from, I don't know, the UK, America. Yeah, he's originally, or has, let's say, Nigerian origins. Yeah, he's Nigerian. Okay, he's Nigerian. He's not Nigerian. Nigeria. All right. Poor Nigerian accent. Hopefully that made someone laugh. If not, I apologize. Let's say he's Nigerian. Okay. He will go back to Nigeria, find a wife, bring the wife, maybe the kids, and they'll grow up in the West. They will use the Western facilities, that schooling system, the opportunity for jobs, work, connections. They will utilize that to the maximum. And when they get to retirement, they will actually go back. They will actually go back to that home nation, Nigeria, that non-Western nation, okay? And then they'll retire there and live over there. So that's happening more and more and more and more and more. I see a lot of Americans, you know, African Americans, maybe they've traced their DNA back to Ghana or somewhere in Africa, but they will, you know, live and work in the US, but then just flip it 360 and go back to somewhere like Ghana or Nigeria and live and, you know, basically retire there, which, you know, is amazing to see. But that's the reverse Passport Bros. It's when you do the okie doke. You go over here, you bring your family over there, and then when the kids grow up, you go and retire back over there. So, yeah, that's the reverse Passport Bros. And then there's obviously reverse Passport Bros 2.0. Okay. Reverse Passport Bros. If you wanna go extreme, we can go there. So reverse Passport Bros 2.0, right, is when you're a guy, let's say you're based either in the West, America, UK, you've got origins maybe in, let's say, for example, Ghana. Cool. You now go back to Ghana, you find yourself a wife, husband, whatever, build a family in the UK. You wait till the kids are grown. But instead of going back to Ghana or, let's say, Nigeria, you might go to Jamaica, you might go to South Africa, you might go to Gambia. So I love that, because basically what that shows is Africa is becoming more and more accessible. People are enjoying Africa. And it doesn't have to just be Africa, I'm saying. People are enjoying the fact that they can travel all around the world. You could go to Asia. Asia is another place where a lot of people like to go to and settle. It's really, really good cost of living. Very, very peaceful as well. And we got somebody else in the goddamn live stream. I see you. I see you. We got two people in this live stream. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There's two people. I know I'm one. I don't know who you are, but I really do appreciate people coming in here. Again, this is a Saturday night. You could be out, you could be weaning all your life away down the loo after a heavy night's drinking session. You could be weeing all your money into that loo after, again, a heavy night's drinking session. You could be puff, 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 smoking all that money away and time away in that, I don't know, group friendship where you just go and smoke and do nothing and get black up. But instead, you are here with me, you are locked in at Marcus Quasi, so you clearly want to live that business class lifestyle. Welcoming the additional person in the live stream into the business class lifestyle. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. And I sincerely appreciate anyone that comes into this live stream, anyone that supports, comments, likes. This thing is tough, man. I'm here on a Saturday. I could be doing so many different things, but I'm here recording. Guess who I'm recording to? Absolutely nobody. There's no one behind this, and I've been doing it already for 45 minutes straight. If anyone comes in here, like if you like, if you dislike, dislike. If you've got anything to say, please share it any way you can. I would strongly appreciate it, because this is hard. You know, this is not easy. And I've been MIA. I've been missing in action. I've been missing for 12 days. I've not been doing it daily. Yes, I have been putting things into place, but I'm not happy about that. And again, when people come in to the live stream, that just motivates me so much more to keep going. So I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Okay. And I think we just finished up there on the reverse passport bros point there. So next, I'm going to touch on my global passport bros experience, and I'm going to touch on maybe some misconceptions and some patterns that I've seen. We're going to do a little bit of a recap first. So again, the main reasons why men and women go overseas to non-Westernized countries to seek long, short-term relationships and marriage come down to quite broad terms. So we're talking about the legal systems there that are more favorable. We're talking about a better standard of living. We're talking about men and women that have more traditional values and respect for women and men. And we're talking about just generally a cost-benefit scenario that a man will typically do. Maybe a woman would do it. I think women do it too. I'm just talking from a man's perspective. And then they'll just kind of think, okay, well, let me hedge my bets. I think I'll try and find a woman from a non-Westernized country. So yeah, in terms of my experiences, I've traveled so many places, man. Honestly, I have traveled so many places. I am a product of passport bros. So, my parents, they went to the UK, they did their thing. I was not there. I grew up in Ghana, and there you're raised by the village, like you don't need a mum or dad. The lady that raised me is not actually even a relative. It's technically a random lady in the village that raised me. So she's not even a blood relative. I don't believe she's a blood relative. She is technically a random lady in a village that says, yeah, I'll look after him. Yeah. So me and my older sister, we were being looked after by this random lady who is, as far as I'm concerned, she's my mum. So I've got two mums. But obviously that wasn't my actual mum. My parents were in the UK, sorting out paperwork, doing their thing, hustling, scrimping, scraping. It's hard out there. It's hard, if you just turn up into a country and you don't know the system, you don't even know what a card is, you don't even know what an NI is, you don't even know what documents you need to get a job, a bank, and then you're bringing kids with you. It's very difficult. So I was left in Ghana for a couple of years with this lady. And then once my parents got stuff sorted, firstly, my dad then bought my mum. My dad was there for a lot longer. My dad bought my mum, and then I followed a couple years after, okay? And, I've been raised, I eat food, language, culture I take on some of the British aspects of UK life, but generally, I've been raised in a Ghanaian setup, pretty much. I've been raised in a Ghanaian setup, effectively. So that's as an example of passport bros working. I've got other siblings as well, and they've had the same kind of similar experience, pretty much. And we would do a lot of traveling. So my mum always wanted the connection to back home. So she would stick it all on the credit card. Yeah, yeah. All four kids, her stick it all on the credit card. Buy now, pay later. Buy now, pay later. To be honest, all my life, that's what I've heard. Everything has been buy now, pay later. Buy now, pay later. So you're sticking a whole flight, 4 kids, yourself, just to make sure that the kids understand where they come from, cultures. You're showing them to other family members, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm so indebted to that. And I can walk to these places myself, and feel definitely at home. No issues with the food. Some people might feel a culture shock when you're sharing with the next man one same plate, and you're digging out the same plate with your bare hands, and it's rice. You're digging out rice, bare hand on the same plate. But that's not a culture shock for me, because I've been doing that. It's normal. It's normal. And thanks to my parents for allowing me to normalize my own culture. But in addition to that, as everybody knows, if you're from, let's say call it like a third world or developing country, bruh, your cousins, aunties, and uncles, they're all over the bloody gaff. They're all over the bloody gaff. I got family in Holland, Switzerland. I've got one of my uncles got done up bad. He somehow through a connection, man, he got a link to Portugal, and he came to the UK through Portugal. One day they must have stopped him in transit, and they looked at his passport. Like, okay, you got a Portuguese passport. They started saying all kinds of obrigado and all this kind of stuff. He didn't know. He almost got finished off, because he couldn't obviously speak Portuguese, but he had a Portuguese passport. He's like, what's going on here? But if you know, if you come from that kind of setup, you could find yourself with siblings in not siblings but family in China, which I do, Singapore, all over the gaff. It's normal. It's absolutely normal. So as a result, now I would go and visit family members everywhere. So that was also quite a good thing for my mum to do. I met one of my aunties in Germany. So traveling was normal. Traveling was always normal for me. And it was just good to see sort of different cultures and how it worked. I met another uncle in, where was it? Spain. I've lived in Spain as well. So, all of that was great. Now, in terms of relationships and the points that I mentioned, and, maybe looking at your options and seeking relationships in other non-Western countries, in terms of my experiences, well, I would say, as a man, when I grew older, obviously I used to go back then with parents, but now I go to other countries, such as, I've been to Morocco a couple of times, I've been to Ghana, I've been to Egypt. So I go to these countries on my own as a man. And when you look at the dating scene over there, culturally, the women are so different. So different. I'm not saying that you can't get similar or the same in the UK or America, because there are a lot of people with still traditional values here in the West, right? They're there. They are there. And to be honest, you only need to find one, maybe two. You only need one person to settle down with, live your life with. You don't need 1,000, right? I know the numbers may not be great, but you only need one, right? But generally, for example, Ghana, when I went there, the women loved and respected me, man. They really, really loved and appreciated every single thing about me and how I moved. Right the way down to something that they do in Ghana, which every man loves this. Every man loves these 3 words. I promise you, like these 3 words will make any man's heart melt. You know, you'd be endearing to them, right? These are the 3 words. Have you eaten? I'm going to repeat those 3 words. Have you eaten? A man just heard me say those 3 words and he just came in his pants. Like the Ghanaian women always want to ensure you have eaten, and it's almost like it's a euphemism for just "Are you okay?" You know, asking that at random times throughout the day. You know, showing that additional. It sounds mad, right? But I've been in all types of relationships in the West. They don't women. I mean, maybe it's just the way how food is seen as well over there. You know, culturally, food is something that is quite sacred in Ghanaian culture. It's a sign of ingratiating yourself to someone. But we don't have. I've not been in many relationships. I mean, I've been in relationships that they definitely put me on with food. I've got to be 100% real with that, right? But those ones have typically gone better than the others. But having you know, your other half, like you just come back from work, have you eaten? You're still at work, have you eaten? Like asking sincerely, not just like random. Like they want to know that your belly's full. Weirdly, that is a major turn on and ego boost, and you know, it just really does make you feel like, you know, this person cares. Another point as well. So let's just say, for example, you know, this may or may not have happened, right? So, you know, I'm in Ghana, I meet someone, you know, we hang out, we have drinks, we have a couple of dates, and, you know, we then take things further, and, you know, we have dessert. Okay, we have dessert, and, you know, sometimes, you know, you got to think, right? Ghana is still a 3rd world country. Like, people might have ulterior motives, you know. You've got to really still be careful about what you're doing out there. Things are different. It's not, there's some precautions you've got to take with dating out there. It is still a 3rd world country. You know, you go around there and people know that you're from a certain, you know, you're from the West, UK, America. They might move different, men and women. If you're a girl and you go to Ghana and they know that you got money, you got to be careful with that. Like, they might, you know, this is where you get a lot of guys from, you know, like non-Western countries like Ghana and these other countries. Oh yeah, I want to marry you. They're trying to. They might be doing it for papers. Might be, you know what I mean. So you got to be quite careful. But anyway, so me and this lovely Ghanaian girl, seeing each other for a little while. Every single time we had dessert, right? Every single time. As soon as I'd wash up and come out, the bed was made completely fresh and new. Now, this might sound like a little petty thing, but basically this was with quite a few different women. So clearly there's a type of training or just a way that they move, okay? After dessert, everything was cleaned up. I could be talking about any type of dessert here. I'm not, hey, you guys can't catch me. I ain't letting you guys catch me out, man. I could be talking about any type of dessert. Yeah? Yeah, I could be talking about any type of dessert here. And you know, look, I'm you know, I've never done the deed.
Since I was born to this earth, I haven't slept with any woman before. I am purely virgin.
I tell you, he telling you, I'm pure virgin.
Since I was born to this earth, I haven't slept with any woman before. I am purely virgin.
Man. But if you get what I'm saying, after dessert, like clockwork, instantly cleaning everything up, and as soon as you turn your back, the bed's made. Right? The first time that happened, I was thinking, yo, like this chick must have like tried to ruffle up my drawers and take my passport or something, or done or done an absolute mad thing, right? But no, as a standard, they're moving like that as a normal, clear everything up, redo the bed, and then after all of that, guess what they'll do? They'll say, "Have you eaten?" Oh man, but it's a different, way of showing respect for a man, and that was my experience with Ghanaian women, and same way with Ghanaian men that I definitely would recommend. I'd also recommend. Let's not go there. You can't get me there like that. Let's pause. If you're a woman, I would definitely recommend Ghanaian men. But with other guys, Americans, people from the UK, other countries in the UK, Ghanaian women are amazing. Honestly, absolutely amazing. They're amazing in the UK and America too. The traditional ones back home in Ghana, they're a different breed. They're a completely different breed. And I've got nothing but love and good things to say for those women over there. And again, those were some of the little nuances that I sort of felt when I was out there. They really do respect their men and masculine energy. There is a bit of a patriarchy thing over there as well, some of which is a bit uncomfortable, to be honest, but they really do love and respect their men over there. And that was a great experience, to be honest. Moving into the West. So this is a very interesting location. And I've dated women over there, and there's something there's something really strange about this location. A lot of guys know, if you know, right? And this location is Scandinavia. So we're talking Sweden, we're talking Denmark, we're talking Norway, we're talking Finland. Now, this is quite a really different area, because this is not necessarily, this is in the West. These women are actually Western, or classed as Western, okay? But every single time I've been to a Sweden or a Denmark, I've been treated with absolutely nothing but love. Nothing but love. So big up all my Swedish people and Danes in the building. Even though there's only one of you in the live stream, maybe you might be Swedish or Danish, so big you up. But every time I've been there, and I just jump out the plane. I try and get a train ticket. They're like, "Oh, you're English, blah blah blah." We talk. Oh, don't worry, here's a free on the house. I go to a restaurant, they give me free drinks. I went to McDonald's once, they gave me free McDonald's. Like, these guys were putting me on. Maybe it was my aura, maybe it was my je ne sais quoi, my own kind of positive energy that was being spread. But when it came to the dating as well, Scandinavian women are very generous. Very generous. They want to pay for everything. They want to take you out. They want to, like, off the cuff, I'm going to take you out. We're going to go here. We're going to go there. We're going to go there. These are the best clubs. This is the place that you want to go. Like, they're really endearing in that way, and just very generous as well. Now, as we know, some of the richest places on the planet are in Scandinavia. They've got really, really good social services, for one. And as a woman, I think it's a great place to live as a woman. They've got really good services there, and the education system is also quite good. But in terms of dating, the women really do take a forward charge and lead in sort of making things happen, if that makes sense. And they're very liberal. Like I said, they're happy to pay for everything, which is strange. So the idea that people, men and women, would go to other countries to take advantage of the socioeconomic situation is not necessarily true. If you go to a place, I guarantee you, if you go to a place like Sweden, you're not going to be in a socioeconomic advantage. I guarantee you. People there have got really, really good jobs. It's a very high income country, and it's got high taxes as well. So getting to the more specifics part about the dating. So let me just put it bluntly, right? There seems to be an affinity with UK urban culture, even American urban culture. And when I could go deeper in that, you can say Black American urban culture. They really love that element to you. And let me not talk too much. Let me not talk too much about the Scandinavians. But no, very, very liberal, quite forthright in what they're trying to do there. They almost try and, take care of you in a way. You can look at that in both ways. That's something that I don't mind, but for a lot of guys, that might be a bit unusual. For example, I remember I may have dated a Kenyan lady. There's a lot of these Africans, particularly in Sweden. Obviously, people from Eritrea, Somalia, Kenya. I dated or met this Kenyan girl, and I remember she was just putting me on to so many good places to visit. And she was happy to go with me or not with me. It was just all about trying to get me to have as much fun as possible while I was in the country. And she loved the accent. In it. They always make fun of the accent and all that stuff, but they seem to really, really love urban or Black British culture, like, honestly. So that was my experience over there. And again, their culture will probably be similar to yours if you were a westernized guy, and they don't necessarily exhibit all of the qualities that a lot of guys want to try and avoid in the West. But there is still also the legal aspect. I don't know the ins and outs of the legals in Sweden and the like, but I'd imagine, on divorce and all these things, there is going to be a consequence for the guy. But yeah, it's not always overseas cheap thrills that people look to, date overseas. You're not going to find a cheap thrill in Copenhagen or Stockholm. It's not they're not cheap countries, I'm telling you. and the women there are very, very, very educated, very, very highly educated. And like I said, they go around paying for everything and all this kind of stuff. They take you out. It's like that over there. Maybe it was just something that I experienced. Got to give myself a little bit of credit here and there, but I think it's a general thing. A lot of guys will tell you about how it goes down in Sweden, and for the brothers, it goes down in Sweden, I tell you. But hey, what do I know? What do I know? Because me, I have never touched it.
Since I was born to this earth, I haven't slept with any woman before. I am purely virgin.
Pure. I am pure. Let's stop laughing. Stop laughing at me. Good. All right. What other destinations can I talk on? Okay, so let's contrast that to, dating in the head of the West. Okay, so the head of the West, we're talking your UK, your USA, and your Canada. Okay, now that is a zongo, man. That is a zongo. Dating in the capital cities of the West, Canada, America, and UK, that is a zongo, man. The competition is mad. And this is something that I actually noticed in Canada, which was more accentuated. It was actually worse for whatever reason in Canada than what it normally is in the UK and America. Bruh, your boy was getting flaked on left, right, center. And I ain't talking from doing like a weekend in Canada. I went into Canada for basically a couple of months. You know, I was deep in there. I wasn't just sitting in Toronto. I was around certain other places as well. And, you know, what you would find is the attention spans, the flake rates, you know, you set something up, cancel. It's different, you know. So this is why a lot of guys, they don't want to be dating in the West. They don't like that experience consistently. Like I said, it's kind of normal, you know. I remember when I was out there, I'd set up like maybe 2 dates in one, and because I know one will definitely flake. You know, that's how bad it was in Canada. In the UK, you get that probably not so much, maybe because I know how to navigate that. In America, I think it's the same, but for some reason in Canada, the flake rate was out of this world. They were really nice though. I don't know what it is. When I go overseas, maybe I'm just happier overseas, and you know, I exude that natural kind of flamboyance. But yeah, they were putting me onto everything. They were giving me free drinks in the club. As soon as I opened my mouth, as soon as they heard my accent, it was game over. But yeah, definitely a higher level of a flake rate. You know, generally people are a little bit more colder. I've had that criticism. I think it's kind of a deep Western thing where we kind of just keep ourselves to ourselves a little bit more. Definitely dating, you know, Canadian, American, UK women compared to, let's say, Ghanaian women, it's completely different, and you know, a lot of that is just down to cultures, really. Passport experiences with other countries. I'll touch on Spain as well. I've been in and out of Spain for a minute. I lived there for a minute, but I've been there back and forth since, here and there, and dated. Can Spain be considered a Western country? It's a tough one. It's a tough one, really. Can Spain be considered a Western country? I would probably go as far as to kind of say, if you're outside the main bits in, let's say Barcelona, Madrid, and then maybe let's say let's say Barcelona. If you're outside those main bits, I'll kind of say it's not too westernized. It is westernized, but not too westernized. Women there are still somewhat traditional. They've got somewhat traditional values, but just generally you're gonna get more emotional women and men, I would say. God, the guys, man, Jesus, man, the guys are, oh man, I had to play football out there, right? Okay, so this is crazy, right? I played football with so many different clubs, so many different teams. I played football all over. I played football in Germany. I played in Canada. I played in the UK, right? I played in even more places. When I went, I was playing in Spain. The team that we were in were performing bad, and we were at the bottom of the table. So every single game that we lost hurt, man. It really, really hurt. I remember once after a game we had lost. Now, again, this was probably a young team as well, so you got to bear that in mind. But I remember once after a game we had lost, and I was like, oh man, I'm probably, you know, one of the more senior players in the team. But anyway, we've lost the game. I walk into the changing room, my head's down. I look up, I see 10 of my teammates, Spanish guys, bawling, like proper, like towel over the head, like we lost, I can't believe we lost. We lost again. We lost the 3 points. I don't want to get relegated. I don't want to get relegated. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm performing so bad. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué no goals? ¿Por qué no? ¿Por qué mal performancia? It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. Bruh. I've seen people like in the UK, you probably get someone throw a boot, or someone just try and smash a water bottle, or someone just get angry, start an argument. These guys were sopping in tears in the changing room. I was like, whoa, I didn't even know how to react. Spanish men are very emotional, and similarly the women. Okay, so they're all very, very emotional, but at the same time, super loyal, super duper loyal. I'll have times where just randomly, I would be saying, yeah, look, I'm coming here. I'm gonna come at this airport without any organization, without me saying, anything, without me even saying the time, without me even saying the time. I'll turn up at the airport and I'll get a call and they'll be like, "Oh, right, I'm here." All right, what do you mean you're here? Like, no, I just, I looked at the times. I looked at, the flights coming from here to over here. And yeah, I thought you'd be on this flight. So I've come in my car and I can drop you. It's super, super, super loyal. But there's that fiery element too. So you kind of gotta watch out. I wouldn't say that Spain is, traditional in terms of dating, like the men and the women, but it's definitely more traditional and more non-Western than dating women that have embraced and taken in the UK, American, or Canadian culture, and that's the crux of my experience. We are 1 hour 15 minutes in. Look at the time. It's run its course. It's run its course. We are at 1 hour and 17 minutes into the live stream. We've had to turn this upside down on its hiddy head again. Yeah, I told you we'd go all night long for this one. I told. To be honest, I don't even do it like that. Especially if it's all night long. I don't even do that. I'll be slow stroking. Yeah. I'm too old for the rabbit thing. I'll be just doing that slow stroke. Yeah, we be slow stroking. We be slow stroking over here. I've stroked you to 1 minute 17, baby, and we can do it all night long. Enough for that. But we've touched on a lot today. I wanted to just get it all over and done with the whole passport bro things. These people that are doing passport bros, these guys, you see them, they're African Americans, they're running up in Colombia, Asia, Brazil. Bruh, do yourself a favor. Africa's a massive continent. Tap into that. I'm putting you onto game. Tap into that. You can get everything you need from there, and you'll actually be more welcome as well. That's the message to the African Americans specifically. Generally, you can find anything you want and you just go and enjoy yourself and so on. But do not overlook the continent of Africa if you would like a non-Western woman. Okay, so we touched on a lot of things today. Like I said, we touched on what is passport bros, what is passport sis, what is passport pookies, what is the modern day passport bros, as well as the original passport bros. Okay, that's basically people that want the same culture that they've had back home in the West, in the UK, and they move to the UK, but then they just bring their wives, partners, they go back there to get them and they bring them over in the UK. That was the original. People have been doing that for years. There's nothing new. This passport bros that people are talking about is nothing new for Ghanaians, for Jamaicans, for Indians, Pakistanis, even the Irish. They would do the move to the UK, work, and then bring your family over. That is nothing new, right? But the people that fall into that strange gap is Americans, because all these people that I've just listed, Ghanaians, Jamaicans, Irish, they've actually got a place to go back to. That is not the West. African Americans, they do have a place to go back to, which is not the West, which is Africa, but some of them are disconnected. So, if that's the case, you can't really do passport bros the same. You're just floating around, trying your luck here, trying your luck there. Let me go to Asia. Let me go to here. Let me go here. Let me try this, and let me do that, and let me do this, and let me do. And there's nothing wrong with that, and you will find love because you're only to find one person, maybe two. So there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. But please also consider other locations, including Africa. All right, reverse passport bros. You come to the UK, you get a family from back home, you bring that family with you, and then guess what? You go back to other families. This happens a lot, especially in African culture, where the man will go back for business. He's on business, right? So he'll raise his whole family in the UK, and then he'll go back to Ghana, Jamaica, wherever, on business. He's trying to do a business, yeah, or just simply, both the parents would retire back in the home country, right? That's reverse passport bros. Reverse passport bros 2.0. There you go, and retire in another country. So they're from one country, come to the UK, raise a family in the UK, but then they go and retire in blimmin' Panama just because they can. And that's the beauty of where we've sort of come as a species. We are able to fly, and that's what I try and do. I want to open your minds to growth, okay, across the areas of health, wealth, and relationships. And I want you to truly live that business class lifestyle across all of those areas. Okay, that's the whole point of what I try and promote as a philosophy. All right. And then finally we touched on my experiences there, and again, somewhere where I'd like to go is let's say I would love to go to the heart of African American America. So Atlanta, for example, I'd love to see what it would be like to live in Atlanta. Again, like I said, if you go back to for me, when I go back to like Ghana, I just feel so much at home, so normal, and I feel like I get the rub of the green. I feel like I get the rub of the green. So where, let's say I go to an environment such as Atlanta, where there's more people that look like me, I may also get the rub of the green. And the type of life that I can create for myself may also be better. I don't know. So again, that's something that maybe later on down the line I might do. I'm not a tree either, and I'm definitely open to living at other locations. I've already lived in many locations: Spain, UK, Africa, Canada for a piece. I've traveled all over Asia, China, Singapore, you name it, right? So I am definitely not a tree. I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely not a tree. And having the ability to travel is something that we should not take lightly. So lastly, let's talk about strategies. I've kind of focused on the male element of going overseas for relationships, long, short term, and marriage, because I am a man and I have a preference for women that are women. But this is going to apply to anyone really. Okay, so if you want a realistic strategy to go overseas, date overseas, marry overseas, a realistic strategy would look something like this. So first of all, you will not get anywhere without actually doing the internal work in your home country, getting results in your home country before you even think about doing anything outside of the home country. Okay, you can't be an idiotic person, a non-sensitive person. You can't not be able to deal with the opposite gender and work with the opposite gender to create and meet each other's needs, and then run off to an overseas country and think it's going to work for you. It's not gonna work for you. Have done the work in the wherever you are in the UK, America, wherever you are in the West, yeah. So then you can actually get some momentum and take that into your dating overseas. All right. If you think you can just show up and you're gonna go to Ghana and all the women are gonna be all over you, or you're gonna show up in Brazil and all the women are gonna be all over you, show up in Colombia, no. If you were unique, if you couldn't articulate yourself, if you didn't know how to communicate, if you didn't know how to treat people back in the home country, when you go to these other countries, it's actually gonna be worse, because again, you're not one of them. You don't get the extra oh, well, we'll give him the opportunity to doubt. You're not going to get that. You are not one of them. You do anything silly, stupid, they're going to get you. They're going to get you. So don't come with your nonsensical Western BS over in clean-hearted countries. You need to come there with a degree of decorum and some internal work of your own. Nothing too crazy, but you can't just turn up there and just pick up a husband or pick up a wife. That's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Okay. And don't rely on what you see over here in the West. So if you, oh, right, I see this guy on my screen. He's a Ghanaian guy and he's well put together. Ghanaian guys are well put together. Let me go to Ghana. No. Do not rely on what the people that you're seeing walking around in the West, because they are not a true and accurate depiction of the culture and the way of living in overseas countries. You need to go to Thailand. You need to go to Japan. You need to go to Brazil, Colombia, and see how the Brazilians, Colombians, Taiwanese, Jamaicans, how they're moving in their actual culture before you think about moving over there and starting a life either over there or building something with someone that's from that culture. Yeah. So, before you kind of go over there, you need to do a lot of research and visit regularly to help you embrace the culture. Okay. You need to research all the legal aspects and economic aspects regarding the country and starting a family. So we're talking about what type of industries are in that country, or is that country known for? Can you actually go there and buy a house, for example? Some countries, if you're not a citizen, you can't just buy a house, for example. Okay, so you need to research all of these aspects before you think about making these moves. All right, and also have a final destination planned in advance. So you might be in one state in America, for example, and then you go to, let's say, Ghana, and you find the woman of your dreams. Yeah, you find the woman of your dreams. You want to live the rest of your life with this woman, but then your state that you're in, maybe the visa process, or maybe the visa process might not be favorable. So you need to do your research and figure out how best to make moves and sort of plan ahead for starting that family or whatever it is that you're trying to do. That's one aspect of it. It might even be as simple as even you want to start a business in that country. So you need to do the research, do the work to find out how you're going to do that. Do you need some clearances in the USA or the UK to be able to start a business and benefit from living in that that country and all that kind of stuff? Okay. And lastly, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. Don't have too many preconceived notions swirling around your head. Don't put too much pressure on these things. Enjoy the process of discovering a new culture, discovering a new country you've not been before is a great experience. So make sure you take that in and don't just be desperate for the women or the relation. This is where, like I said, these are the passport pookies. You go to another country, you don't go anywhere. All you do is you just go party after party after party after party. You don't try and see anything about the country, about the city, learn about the history of the culture, anything like that. That's a loss. Enjoy the process, take it in. And those are a few tips if you wanted a strategy to date outside of the West. Woo! It's an hour and a half in. I told you it would be all night long. I told you. You guys gonna be sore after this one, I tell you. You're gonna be pulsating down there. This one is gonna go all night long, baby. We slow stroking that. Yeah. Woo! I love a little slow stroke, baby. Right? No. We're not gonna be slow stroking all night like that. I can't. I've given you a couple of rounds already. I know you're already about to blow your top off if you haven't already. But that's been me. You guys have been great. Before I leave, I'd like us to repeat some words. Okay? You might call this cheesy. You might say he's a neek. I'd have to take that on the chin, but I really, really do think words are powerful. So I have a little affirmation for us. Repeat after me. I will be, do, and have everything I want in this life and create my own destiny because that is my divine will and I have been ordained to do so. Let it simmer. Let it simmer. We're going to really internalize it this time. We're going to really take it in this time. We're going to really take in the words that are going to be said. Okay, we're going to take it in. I will be, do, and have everything I want in this life and create my own destiny because that is my divine will and I have been ordained to do so. All right. And you know, we're gonna have to give a round of applause for this person in the live stream. They've been watching and they've been stroking with me all night. Oh man, I really hope this person's an attractive woman. I really do. If you're not an attractive woman, I'm just stroking and stroking and stroking. Nah, I'm joking. Honestly, like people come in, you know, look at these videos. I don't know what they expect. Some crazy guy in a suit talking smack, talking was. But I do try and help. The whole reason why I touched on this topic, like I said, relationships are real. You know, starting families is a beautiful thing. You don't necessarily need to do that in a restrictive way to a specific location. You've now got the whole world. And if there's a type of woman that you like physically, culturally, go for it. Absolutely go for it, because not everywhere is the same and you are not a tree. So hopefully that's giving you a bit of food for thought there. I've been Marcus. You guys, especially you in the chat that's been still with me, you've been amazing. Honestly, please tell me your name, say hi, do something, you know, reach out to me, man, because I would like to say a thank you to you personally if I can. But yeah, that's me for today. And out. Peace. I bloody tricked you. We going all night long. No, we're not. We're out. For real.